Hi, I'm Alan Can. I help organizations to innovate more quickly using cloud technologies, augmented intelligence, as well as Agile and DevOps practices. Welcome to the second video of the series to show you how you can use GitLab on Bluemix to manage your Agile project. If you haven't seen the setup video in the series, please go back and visit video 1 because that has done a bit of setup in regards to GitLab for managing Agile projects. In this video, you will see how you can create a backlog, run your sprint planning and stand-up meeting, and how you can use GitLab issues to manage your user stories in your Agile project. So let's get started. Now, in order to create a new backlog, all you need to do is to add more issues to the board. Now, there are a couple of ways of doing it. You can click on New Issue and create a complete issue. I will also show you a shortcut way of doing some of these things. But let's say you want a completely new issue, and you want to choose the user story template that we created in video 1. And let's call this, this is the login user story. I usually use a short title and then write the actual user story within the description. So in this case, let's say as a user, I want to log into the system so that I can be identified and get personalized services. And the description of this could be something along the lines of login using username and password. There is no need for double password or captcha, something like that. All right, and maybe task 1 is design a screen, design login screen. Task 2 is design confirmation screen or message. And we need to do some coding and obviously testing. And if you're running test-driven development, which a lot of you will do, then you probably want to separate execute testing and create tests. In this case, I don't have a parent epic, so I'll skip this. But if there is an epic that we create this user story for, then you probably want to refer to that issue number from here. But in this case, I will just take that off. That should do. Submit the issue. So that is one way of creating your issue. Now you'll notice that the markup that we used to create the issue has become actual formatting. Now let's show you another way of creating issues. So if we go back to the board, we can add issues here to the to-do here by just creating something. So some function, some more function. So you notice that on the right hand side, it also pops up with some of the things that you can change. You can give it labels and things like that. And for the one that we created earlier on, we can also add that issue, the login, for example, to the to-do by doing this. So now we've got a to-do list with 3 items. So that's your backlog. The next piece in sprint planning is to prioritize your backlog. And in GitLab, it is very easy to do. You can just drag it up and down from the to-dos, and that would show your priority of your issues. And also, you may want to add some more details to your issues. So let's again go back to the login as our priority. If you go into it, there are a few things that you'd like to add, things like story points. So we can easily do that by using labels. So let's say this is a medium task. So let's say we'll give it 5 points. So we put that as a 5-point issue. And then you can obviously add more details to the description, or alternatively, you can also write it in the comments here. Again, if you need to edit any of the contents, you can easily just go edit from here. Now let's go back to the board, because that's where you manage your user stories. A shortcut way of adding this label here or changing any of the attributes is to click onto it, the issue, and on the right hand side you've got these things that you can change. So let's say we need to add this to sprint 0 because that's our top priority issue. So now it's part of sprint 0. Now we're looking at everything in the backlog for all of the sprints. But if you want to, you can filter it by milestone and say, look, I only want to know what's in the current sprint, in this case sprint 0. And that will only show you the sprint 0 user stories so that you can concentrate on what you're working. The next piece is obviously, we can move that along the board. So let's say we start to work on the login user story, and we want to say, look, we are starting to design the UI now. So you can move that to designing. And don't forget that we've got some tasks within this user story, like design login screen, design confirmation screen, etc. And you can take them off as you go. So once you've taken them off, you don't need to click save or anything like that. You can just go back to your issue board. Actually, back button will work quite well. And say, look, I've completed designing. Let's move that to building. Right. Now, I haven't actually changed the name of any assignee, but you can assign it to team members. And in Agile, most likely that means the team member will pull that user story to himself or herself. Let's say you've completed building, you're reviewing, then you can change the assignee to someone that will be doing the testing. You can also go into this and say, look, we've completed all these tasks now. And we can move it to the done column. Upon you moving it to the done column, the issue or this user story will automatically be closed. If you click into the details of it, it will show you that it is now a closed issue. And if you want to reopen it, you can click on reopen issue. So this is how you use GitHub to manage your user story and your sprint planning. And obviously in your stand-up meeting, you can also use the board. So if we go back to the issues and the board, you can obviously use the board to show the status of all the tasks that you've been doing or all the user story that you've been doing. You can also customize it so that it only shows anything that is assigned to one of the members. Now, at the end of a sprint, you want to close off a sprint. Closing off a sprint simply means if you've got some work that you are already doing and they were still at the previous milestone, so let's say it was in sprint 0, then let's change that to sprint 1. If this is something that you will carry on in the next sprint. If it isn't, right, sometimes you decided that this user story is no longer relevant for the users, you want to put it back to the backlog, then simply move that to no milestone, and that will effectively move it back to the backlog. Finally, with stand-up meetings, you also want to add things like impediments, things that are blocking the progress of someone. It could be a to-do of someone else. So what I would do is to add an issue, clear blockage, need admin password, something like that. And once you've created this, you can go into the actual issue and make some comments there. But the more important bit is to label it appropriately. So other than a to-do, we'll also label it as an impediment. So once you've done that, then go back to the board. And you can potentially create another list that shows you all the impediments. Obviously, the impediments can also be moved to done when the blockage is cleared. So that's how you can manage some of these, or capture some of these to-dos within the tool. So what I have shown you in this video, which is the second video of the 3-part series, is how you can use GitLab to manage your backlog, your user stories, impediments, etc. The next video, we will focus on how to use GitLab Wiki and how to use the Git repository for collaboration between developers and basically others in the Agile team. Thanks for watching.